Welcome to Tony and Sarah Unscripted. Thanks for joining us again today. I am going to be talking with Tony, and we're just going to have a conversation about some things that are kind of important that we both wanted to talk about, and I wanted to start the conversation with Tony.
Yeah.
So, you are very open about your life with everybody.
Even when I don't want to be.
Very few things that people don't know about you. It's kind of the way things are with me at the moment. But one thing you and I wanted to talk about is the stigma behind mental health.
Yeah.
And getting medications for it, or getting help for it. And I wanted to kind of ask you about your experience with that, and just kind of open up if you're comfortable to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of people, when they post on social media, it's always them smiling, and I'm not like that. When I'm suffering and struggling, I actually talk about that and how I'm trying to help myself get through this. So after everything went down in June, we were talking about this in our first episode, how, you know, I had such fight or flight and I had such anxiety for a very long time. And even though I swear, when I think about this, I sit with kids in psych hospitals when they say to me, but I'm on this medication, and they look like they're so ashamed. I always say to them, this medication is medication. Doesn't define who you are, but you need this right now to be happy and whole. Right. It's like I need high blood pressure medication, same thing. But when it came to me being on medication, I struggled with it for a very long time. I knew I needed it, but I felt like maybe I was going to betray myself. But I kept saying, I can do this on my own. I can do this on my own. And last month, it got to the point where my anxiety was through the roof. Why I would take my blood pressure during a episode of anxiety, but
not the best
when
idea.
My blood pressure was like 160 over 102, and, you know, a friend of mine, I was talking to them about this, and they said, Tone, listen, you know, I'm stressed now too, and I'm trying to figure out a way to calm myself down, because I don't want anybody to have to feed me with a spoon because of other people's bullshit.
Wow. Okay.
And I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, what am I doing? Like, why am I not putting myself first? A lot of times we don't put ourselves first, right? We try to take care of everybody else. And I've done that for many, many years, not thinking that I needed to take care of myself, because I felt the work was so fulfilling. And it still is so fulfilling to me that I didn't have to think about, you know, my own emotional health.
Right.
But I had to do something. So I was speaking with my therapist, and I said, listen, my concern is I don't want to lose myself on medication. I don't want to. When I was younger, very young, I was sent to so many psychiatrists and stuff, but they put me on Thorazine. And I remember I was in like a dream state for a year. I don't even remember. Like, it was an awful medication. And she was like, I got Thorazine. No, they wouldn't put you on Thorazine. And so I spoke to my provider, and I started medication 3 weeks ago. We were just talking about this. I thought it was helping me, but lately I'm struggling with that. I don't know how many people can relate to this, but I have fight or flight type of symptoms. So like my whole body starts shaking, and I hate it. So I really thought we can open up a conversation today about, you know, psych meds, because it's nothing to be ashamed about, and they're needed. And I'm not ashamed that I needed to start them. And at first I was a little disappointed in myself. Like, why couldn't you be strong enough? And why couldn't you use the tools that you know to use to calm your ass down, right? And I'm trying to practice to be kind to myself. So, you know.
But I think that, and how you're talking about it is how a lot of people talk about it, and a lot of people say that same thing, that they should be able to handle it themselves. But it's so beyond that. It's stuff that's happening in your brain, that it's a sort of a chemical imbalance. And when things are okay and balanced, it's great.
Yeah.
But when there's things that go awry, and that imbalance comes in, I don't know that you could if you used every single tool you had in the toolbox, I don't know that it would be enough to help you with what you were dealing with and what you continue to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think you dealt without it for, what are we in March now? So
We're in
what, like
March.
9 months, 8-9 months?
Yeah.
And I saw you go up and down with your emotions, but you weren't on. In fact, I was really surprised, to be honest with you. I was really surprised because was there ever a time besides when you were really young that you have been on medication?
No.
Oh, so oh, wow.
No.
Okay.
Never. Haven't.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
And it wasn't because I just felt that, dude, you should be, after everything you've been through, you should be strong enough to handle this. And when I started having these really bad anxieties after I lost my job, I would say to myself, Tony, you're okay, you're safe, you have a home, you have food, and go down the entire list of why I shouldn't be anxious right now. And little things trigger me. Things trigger me. It's when I start thinking about finances, because I've never not worked.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I didn't work. But I never not worked, and I loved my job, and it's not like, it's just like, oh yeah, I got to go to work. It wasn't like that for me for 4.5 years. I really enjoyed the work I was doing. And because of what happened, it was taken away from me, but not only my job, but also everything. Like, I went from being out there to nothing. And that really causes a lot of pain for me.
Well, you had said to me once that that was some of the most difficult thing that you've ever been through in your life.
Yeah.
And you've been through a lot of things in your life.
Yeah.
So I think that when you got to the point where you realized everything you were doing was still not working, that's when you thought, maybe I need to get a little extra help.
Yeah, because I deserve not to feel that way.
Right.
And what's crazy is, like, the things that are causing me anxiety aren't even real. The memories of what happened, they're not real, right? That's not happening right now in my life.
Yeah.
So when we start circling back to the bullshit, put it plain and simple, that changes your emotions at the moment. But I have to keep reminding myself that it's not true anymore.
But is there, and I think about Cameron with this because there's something that they want him to do when he's ready that helps deal with the trauma. For him, it's that medical trauma that he went through, right?
Yeah.
When he goes back to those spaces and it's not good. I can't remember what it's called. Do you know what it's called? EDMR or something like that? EMDR? Something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you relive it, like, kind of, you keep, is it?
No, I don't know. I should have probably looked this up beforehand. But it is to help you when you go back to those thoughts and those things where you're dealing with post-traumatic stress, basically, is what you're dealing with. Yeah, it's not happening now, but you are going back there for some reason. And being back at that time brings back all those feelings and brings back all that anxiety.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's definitely, I don't think you're alone in that kind of thing. But I also think I was happy to hear that you had gone on medication because I think you've been through so much. And again, I'm really surprised that you have dealt with everything that you've dealt with without being on medication. Yeah. So,
well,
but
let me be truthful right now.
Okay,
let me be truthful right now because
go.
I self-medicated for years. Okay.
Drink?
No, smoking pot. If you read my book, I did cocaine. There was
all the stuff.
A lot of stuff I did. So I definitely numbed myself to the point where it was manageable, I thought. You know what I mean? But not only, like, going back to, like, what happened, but how about writing a future that is so bad, like losing my home, and that is what listen, I sit in front of people and I train them on why not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That we suffer far more in our imagination than we do in our reality, because the reality of it is I'm okay right now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like when I'm sitting in front of my audiences and I'm getting more into the wellness part, because I feel everyone right now needs to be reminded because it's a scary time in this world right now, or in this country right now. They need to be reminded that you can have calmness and joy on the side of all of this, right? But I almost feel like I'm an imposter because I'm very good at talking about it and helping other people, but I couldn't help myself. And so I'm really, it's been hard. Again, I don't sugarcoat stuff. It is hard. I'm really struggling,
It's
with
interesting
all
that you
this.
just said that. Not to turn this around about me, but I want to add this one thing in there
Yeah.
because when everything was happening with Cameron coming out, not the recent thing, and I was starting a pride group and starting a nonprofit, and then having some difficult feelings that I was not expressing and not dealing with, I felt the same way, like
Yeah.
an imposter, like I'm saying one thing but
Struggling with it. Yeah.
feeling a different way. And so I got to the point that I said I need to take care of myself, and it's okay to feel the things that I was feeling, and I needed to do what I needed to do to take care of myself and get me through what I was going through on an individual basis. So sort of, yes, we can sit and we know what the right thing is to say. We know how to help people. We know, you've done this for so many years and you have helped so many people. But that doesn't mean that you don't need a little something more to help you get through this incredibly difficult time. And I think there is such a stigma, particularly with men, going on anti-anxiety or depression medication.
Yeah, like buck it up.
Yeah. I just feel like, and I'd wish that would change over time. And maybe the younger generation, it has changed.
Yeah.
Although I don't see it in my middle and my eldest son. I think that there's still that stigma out there that they should be able to handle things themselves. And if you're on antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication, you're not strong enough.
Yeah.
But I've been on them for a long time. And I wouldn't say that I'm not a strong individual. It's just I knew my limits.
Yeah.
And I know you get to a point where you're like, okay, if I go off them, am I going to be able to deal with X, Y, and Z that's happening in my life?
Yeah.
Maybe at some point my life will calm down and I won't have a whole lot happening. And at some point that'll happen to you.
Yeah.
And maybe then we can say, or you could say, because I've been on for a very long time, but hey, let me see how I can do without, or let me go down.
Yeah. Because it's the uncertainty that's what really brings me anxiety.
Oh, the future.
The future.
Yeah, the unknown.
The unknown.
Well, you're very much like type A personality, right? You are, as we like to say, a procrastinator.
I am.
So for you
and it
not,
serves me. It serves
it does
me.
serve you. But so for you not to know what's going to happen financially, or will you get a job, or what does the next 6 months look like for you? It's got to be very, very, very difficult. More so for you than some other people who might just be like, whatever.
Yeah, I love people say to me, "Are you looking for work?" I applied for 137 jobs.
You have to, right? If you're on unemployment.
Well, I'm not on unemployment anymore. I have no income now at all.
Oh.
Which is more, it's kind of adds to the stress.
Should we attach a Venmo link to this?
No, that's okay. Not yet. But it's like, I am trying to find work, even though I'm trying to get back. Like, I would rather just open up my coaching practice.
Right.
Really
Let's talk about that a little bit if you can.
Well, yeah, focusing on parents and caregivers of trans and non-binary kids, but I certainly can coach anyone, anywhere. And, I try to develop it so that, I'm not pigeonholing people into like a 45-minute coaching session, 20-minute moments of pause, which was actually named after my workshop, A Moment's Pause.
Yep.
Because sometimes that's all people need. They don't need this long commitment of, I'm going to sign you up for 3 months of coaching and it's going to be 45-minute sessions every week. People don't need that.
Yeah.
Some people do, but some people just need, hey, listen, I'm really struggling right now. I just need to talk to somebody to get some clarity and to just take a moment to pause and breathe. So, I just announced it yesterday. So I hope I get some income from that. I don't want to I'll work for my money.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But I love the people who say that, because I don't really see myself back in manufacturing, going into an office, running a manufacturing company or being buyer or something. I don't see it. But if I need to do that, I will do it. That's why I keep applying. But I don't even, and so somebody says, oh, only 137? When in
That's
my
a lot.
lifetime has, and somebody said to me, they're probably Googling you.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, they're going to Google you and see the video.
Right.
It's they're going to Google you, and what you see is trans, and like not anything bad, but like on my website and stuff like that. And they're going to be like, this guy's going to bring an agenda in here. So, you know.
Which is sad because if I know you, you wouldn't bring an agenda in
No.
anywhere unless they were wanting you to.
Yeah.
But I do think that for you in particular, it's just this unknown entity of when is it going to end, right?
Yeah,
When
yeah.
when are you going to have the comfort of bringing in an income?
Yeah.
But I can't see you in that manufacturing, and I know you
No,
did
I
it for a
can't.
long time.
21 years.
Yeah.
21 years. I
Like,
ran,
I
you know,
can't
right down the
imagine-
street from here.
I cannot imagine you in that role at all, and I think it would be a huge waste of your
But I'll tell you, what
talents.
I also developed is an employee retainment coaching program. So, you know, I would go into your company if you have employees that have potential, but there's something blocking them. It's more cost effective to have me come in and work with them as a coach to try to unblock them than it is for you to spend all the money trying to, you know, hire somebody else. Then you got to train them and all that stuff. So it's in the works now. I'm actually going to do a pilot program with a couple of companies to see if what needs to be tweaked. But again, like I'm very good at thinking about what's needed,
Right.
you know, and I'm a hard worker. You know, I'm on
Yeah.
the board, Alex Inc. We're doing the event.
Yeah.
I don't sit around and just
Feel sorry for yourself.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And excuse me, even with your previous job, you went above and beyond.
Yeah.
With excuse me, with that. Your employers were very, very lucky.
Yeah. So I think that's what
have you.
happened to me. Like I'm trying to do everything I can to and just a week ago really started focusing on, okay, what do I have control over?
Mhm.
I have control over how I treat myself. You know, so I'm walking, I'm eating right, I've dropped some weight already, I feel better, my blood pressure is really good, pulse is great, you know, things that I have control over, and that makes me feel good. But I'm just glad that I started this med, whether it needs to be tweaked or whatever. But I'm not ashamed, and I don't feel less than. I don't feel like, oh man, Tone, you know, you like betrayed yourself. I don't
No.
at all. But I did, if that makes sense.
No, I know you did because I think it was because you waited so long, right? I mean, because this was something you could have gone on,
Yeah,
but you wanted to see if you could get through this yourself. And no matter how strong you are, and you're a very strong individual, there's just some things that you can't do yourself. You just need that
Yeah.
little bit. It's like if somebody has high blood pressure, you're on medication,
yeah,
diabetes, cancer, anything where they need medication.
yeah,
You know, we don't look at it the same way, but it's the same kind of way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we can't help what's happening in our mind or in our brain. All we know is that it's causing deep hurt and aggravation, and it's not doing what it should do.
yeah,
And it is, again, that imbalance. And if you can take something that can help that, I don't ever understand why somebody wouldn't.
yeah.
And I've
yeah.
dealt with people
Yeah,
who,
yeah. I mean, listen, like I said, you know, I mean, I sit with kids all the time, or I was sitting with kids all the time, and they had such shame around it. It was super sad to me.
why do you think though? Like, why is there such shame about it?
I think it's just society puts shame around it,
Yeah.
and then we feel it. You're like, oh my God, you're on psych meds. It means, oh my God, like what? That doesn't mean that I can't still function as a human. What it means is that I'm functioning better as a human,
Yeah.
and it's my body is healthier because of it.
Right.
You know?
And they're also, you know, the one that you're on now, you're saying maybe isn't working exactly right or isn't working as it was.
Yeah.
There's so many different medications out there.
Listen. When this first one went down in June, and I was driving up to New Hampshire, my provider, I'm going to plug her, Vanessa Pomerico, love her. I said, I need something. I'm not going to I haven't slept, you know? So she gave me Xanax. She gave me 30 pills, right? Listen to this. So it was like 2 months later. She was like, how you doing? She says, do you need another? She goes, how many do you have left? I was like 22. I barely took them. I didn't want to. I suffered instead of that's what I'm saying. Like when I started really thinking about it, why are you suffering
Right.
when there's something that can help you feel more grounded? Maybe.
Part of it was that you were going to lose
Yeah,
control of yourself.
I thought I was going to lose, my personality.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's a lot of also
God
what people
forbid.
think. Yeah. Could we tweak your personality a little bit?
Just a little.
Just a little. I think that a lot of people do worry one of two things. One is that they are going to get very sort of comatose on it, right?
Yeah.
And that can happen on certain medications that just don't agree with you.
Yeah.
Or certain medications for certain things. I remember when I first went on medication, my husband would be laughing. He's like, "Does anything bother you anymore?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." And my kids were really little.
Were you real? That's how you felt?
Oh yeah. And my kids were
yeah.
really little. Like they were probably 2, 4, and 6, something like that.
Oh wow.
And I see now with my biological mother that I got to know that there is anxiety and depression and very close in my family.
Yeah.
So, but I remember that we would sit at my in-laws' kitchen and he would just be laughing because he's like, nothing phases you. The kids are literally running around. Nothing's phasing me. Whereas before I would just be
Really?
so anxious and so like, stop this, stop that, and he's like, do you think you could mother anytime soon? Or is this, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. We're good.
Let them run around.
I'm good. And obviously,
Let them touch the stove even though it's hot.
They'll learn.
Screw it.
They need to learn. Obviously, it's many, many years later now, so lots of changes and stuff. But as I said, particularly with what goes on in my life right now, I'm not sure that I can handle it without being on meds, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Someday I will go off them and see what it's like to truly feel. I mean, I used to cry all the time at the drop of a hat.
Oh boy.
Particularly with ads, anything right now.
Yeah.
How's your crying?
I cry.
I know you do.
I cried at listen, I wasn't going to watch the Oscars. Listen, not to get off the track, but I turned it on accidentally.
Okay.
And it was when they were doing, of course, the, memories and people that have died over the years. And Rob Reiner and his wife came on. So I felt it like in my throat, but I did not cry. I'm sitting alone in my house, by the way, in my living room. And then Barbara Streisand comes out, and she talks about Robert Redford, and she starts singing "The Way We Were."
Oh my
God! Sobbed. Okay, now listen. Not only did I sob, and I'm like looking around, like is any neighbor walking through my? Oh my God! The next morning in the shower, I thought about it. I started crying again.
Oh my gosh! Tony.
So it was I have.
No, it's good that you're in touch
I
with
do.
your
I
emotions.
cry.
Yeah.
Okay, now nobody judge me because I'm going to share one more thing.
Yeah, go.
I love the Waltons. I watch the Waltons. And the other day, I started crying at the Waltons.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sorry to get off the subject.
Our
I
production needs to cut this stuff.
I told you it was going to be fun. Anyway, so see how much better I am on my meds now.
So wait, what are you crying at the Waltons?
Well, Grandma had a stroke.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Anyway, so
yeah.
there you go. If you need meds, don't be ashamed.
Don't be ashamed. Yeah, they obviously work a little different for me.
A little bit.
Yeah, I don't cry at all. I mean, I do.
You don't?
No, sometimes I do, but it's only like if I'm dealing with something emotional or something that I'm dealing with, but never watching something.
Oh, okay.
And I used to be able to be like that, and I'd like to someday hopefully be like that again. Because my husband's like, you're just like this
someday.
Cold.
I hope
so
to cry at commercials again.
Yes, because it's like you feel things. That's the thing that people are worried about.
That's
as well.
what I was worried about.
Yes, not feeling
so
things. Clearly, you're still feeling things. Yeah, well, maybe they could like up it a little bit so you don't feel so much still with the Waltons and
listen,
the way we were.
I love the song. I love the theme song for the Waltons too.
I don't even know.
And I sway when it plays.
Did you want to sing it?
And I don't. That's not. It's all instrumental.
You sway.
I sway.
Okay, this is really bad. This is worse than I thought.
Oh my God.
Okay.
All right.
But our whole point is that if you need it, take it.
Yeah, if you need it, take it.
Right, and life can be so hard.
It can be.
And
you deserve to take care of yourself.
Yes.
It's like, listen, self-care for me used to be massage, sushi, and shoe shopping. Okay, not that I'm opposed to that, but I consider taking these meds self-care.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not just about.
Wait, are we still not doing the massage, the shoe shopping, and the sushi?
Well, right now I have no income, so I'm
right,
trying.
so definitely
yeah,
not. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
every once in a while I'll get a massage, because my body needs it, and I absolutely, definitely get something out of it.
Yeah, but you need to stay awake during the massage.
Yeah, I don't need to. Yeah, the last weekend I went up to New Hampshire 2 weekends ago, and my brother's like, "Oh, you got to go to my massage therapist. You got to go. She's great. She's great." And I said, "Well, Jesus, I hope I stay awake, right?" So it couldn't have been 10 minutes in. I snort woke up.
Oh, my
I snort woke up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
You woke yourself up, yeah.
I hate that. And then one time towards the end, I'm on my back, she's massaging me, and I know she had my left hand. She was like massaging my left hand. She was holding it up, and you're supposed to like let it go, but whatever.
Yeah.
I was sleeping, and I woke up laughing, like giggling. And then she looked at me. I was like, "You're tickling me." I didn't know what else to say.
No. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Sorry, Ilana, if you're
They
listening.
must have the funniest stories.
They have to. Maybe we need to have a massage therapist on the show and talk about their funny experiences.
Yeah,
because
although I don't know that I'd ever go for a massage again then, because I'd be so worried. But that happens, like, if I fall asleep, I get so mad because you pay a good amount of money for massages.
Yeah.
You just miss the entire thing.
you missed the entire thing.
Right. I'd almost wish that they would nudge me a little bit or just give me a big pinch.
And my brother Nick always tells his massage therapist, and I started telling mine, that snoring is a standing ovation.
It's just really that good. Oh, my
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so one more question, because
Yes.
we got to wrap up here. But I have a pet peeve, and I want to know if what you think about this.
Mhm.
When you go into a restaurant, I have a lot of issues with restaurants.
Yes.
Okay. When you order a salad, shouldn't the waitress then say, "Would you like that chopped?"
No.
I think, why? I see. Listen,
Because usually if a
they
salad
don't
is
have chopped salads on every menu.
They don't.
They
I
do
know.
not. And
I know.
if I want a chopped salad, it should be like, okay, listen, how would you like can I have a burger with mayo? Sure. How would you like that cooked? It's automatically asked.
Mhm.
Okay. I feel, and listen, if you're watching us or listening to us wherever, like it right now, if you agree with me, or put it in the comments or make a comment. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you feel that salad should have the option of being chopped?
Every time you order it.
Well, yeah. Hey,
It's more work for them.
Can I have the Caesar salad? Would you like that chopped? It's not hard for them.
But it must be more work for them because they have to chop it.
So what? Listen, people, charge me 50 cents more for the salad because you got to chop it. And then next time we'll talk about serving me warm bread with hard butter.
Yeah, no, I know. That's a no-no.
ridiculous.
That's a no-no. Anyway, Tony, thank you for being open and honest.
Yes.
As always with
the
us.
Waltons. That was a big one, everyone. That was a big one. Don't tease me. Okay.
That was good. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.